Okay, so picture this. The smell of incredible food, those bright, colorful decorations everywhere, and new cars. Yep. It's festive season in India, which means the car world is buzzing. Like, seriously buzzing. New models are launching left and right. There are deals everyone's trying to snag. It's kind of wild.
It's the most exciting time of year for car shoppers and for the whole industry, really.
Totally. And to get a real feel for what's got everyone talking this year, we're doing a deep dive into some cool data. We're talking Google Trends straight from the last week of September. It's like peeking into the minds of car fans all over India, seeing what they're curious about.
Like a snapshot of what's hot, what's not.
Exactly. So are you ready to see what's trending?
Hit me with it.
All right, in first place by a mile, it's the Tata Curve.
Oh, the Curve, yeah, that's generating a lot of buzz.
For good reason. Tata actually just dropped both an electric version and one with a regular combustion engine.
Which is interesting, right? I mean, it's a really savvy move. Tata's basically hitting two birds with one stone. They're tapping into that electric vehicle trend that's, like, impossible to ignore these days.
Huge, yeah.
Oh, still catering to drivers who aren't quite ready to make the electric leap just yet? Smart.
It's a balancing act for sure. And the price is another attention grabber. They're starting at just a Bara's 9.99 lakh.
Seriously, that's aggressive. Especially for a car with this kind of versatility.
I know, right? It's like they're saying, we're here to shake things up. And they're taking aim at a competitive segment, too, that compact SUV space.
Which is already packed, by the way. Lots of established players. But that price point, that could be a game changer.
Oh, for sure. And speaking of game changers, let's talk engines. You've got the reliable 1.2-liter turbo petrol option. There's the 1.5-liter diesel for those who love a bit more torque. But then there's the really interesting one.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Lay it on me.
The totally new 1.2-liter Hyperion direct injection petrol engine.
Hold on. A new engine altogether. That's ambitious.
Yeah. And get this. It's packing 123 bhp.
Wow. Okay, so they're not messing around with the power.
Nope. And it gets even better. 225 Nm of torque. That's impressive for a car in this class.
For sure. That's going to turn some heads. And you know what else is interesting? This is also the first mass-market diesel car in India that's rocking a dual-clutch automatic gearbox.
Whoa, really? I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I mean, for those drivers who've been wanting that smooth, seamless feel of an automatic, but with the fuel efficiency of diesel, this is kind of a big deal.
Huge. Okay, switching gears a bit here. Literally, let's talk two-wheelers. Coming in at number 2, though it's not even close to the Curve in terms of search volume, is the Triumph Speed. Triumph just launched their updated Speed 400.
I saw that, yeah, the Speed 400 is a classic.
Right, and they also unveiled the completely new Speed T4.
Oh, wow, a new model. That's interesting. So what's the strategy there? Are they trying to appeal to different types of riders?
Exactly. They're basically covering their bases. The Speed 400, with the updates, is for their loyal fans who already love that bike. But then you have the T4, which is a more affordable option, although it doesn't have quite as much power.
Ah, so maybe targeting newer riders or those who are more budget conscious.
You got it. Now, both bikes have the same engine at their core, a 398cc single-cylinder, liquid-cooled engine. They both have that 6-speed gearbox, too, but the T4, like I said, has a bit less power.
Makes sense. They want to create that distinction between the two, appeal to different segments of the market.
For sure. Okay, up next, let's talk about a bike that's gotten a serious makeover. The TVS Apache RR310. Have you seen this thing?
I've seen some photos floating around online. Looks pretty slick. They've added those winglets, right?
Yeah, for that extra downforce, they bumped up the power, gave it more torque, even added a cool new color, bomber gray, they're calling it. And the rider aids, don't even get me started.
Okay, now I got to know, what kind of rider aids are we talking?
We're talking cruise control, which, come on, who doesn't love cruise control? There's a bi-directional quick shifter.
Now that's just showing off a little. In a good way.
Totally. And get this, race-tuned dynamic stability control.
Wow. Okay, so they're really stepping up their game with this update. Those aren't just bells and whistles. Those are features that serious riders are going to love.
Absolutely. But if you're more into customizing your ride, don't worry, they haven't forgotten about you. The build-to-order, or BTO for short, options are still there.
Oh yeah, I love the BTO options.
Right. You can pick the Dynamic version or the Dynamic Pro version, each with its own set of features and a slight difference in price.
Options are always good. Gives riders more control over their experience.
Right. Okay, so we've talked bikes. Let's get back to cars for a sec. This time, it's the Hyundai Alcazar, a pretty popular SUV in India. And let me tell you, it just got a whole lot more interesting. It's not just a simple refresh either. We're talking a major update. We're talking a full design makeover, a bunch of new features. They've really boosted the safety stuff too, which is always good. Oh, and of course, you've got some new colors to pick from. Gotta keep things fresh, right?
For sure. Got to stay current. But I think this update says something interesting about Hyundai. It's like they're really listening to what people want, you know?
Oh, totally.
And they're not afraid to adapt, especially with all the competition in the SUV market right now. It's all about staying one step ahead, or should I say, one curve ahead.
Very good. Okay, so last on our list, but definitely not least, is the MG Windsor EV. This is the only fully electric vehicle we're looking at today. And some of you might be thinking, wait a minute, wasn't there already a Welling Cloud EV? And you'd be right. It's basically a rebranded version of that. But, and this is a big but, don't tune out just yet because this one's got a trick up its sleeve.
Okay, color me intrigued. What's the catch?
Well, for starters, this is MG's first big launch since they teamed up with JSW in India, right? And that partnership is huge, could really change the game for them. So the Windsor EV, this might be our first peek at what they've got planned.
Interesting. I'm picking up what you're putting down. They're signaling a shift, maybe a whole new direction for MG in India.
Exactly. All right, are you ready for this?
Hit me.
The MG Windsor EV is the first car in India, like ever, to offer battery as a service. BOSS, they call it.
Whoa. Okay, now that is interesting. I'll admit I didn't see that coming. Talk about shaking things up.
Right. It's huge. So for those who don't know, instead of buying the battery outright, which, let's be real, is a massive chunk of the cost of an EV.
Oh, absolutely. It's a major expense.
You're basically subscribing to it like you would for Netflix or Spotify, but for your car battery. Pay a monthly fee, and boom, you're good to go.
Okay, I'm seeing the appeal here. That upfront cost is a major roadblock for a lot of people who are interested in EVs, but maybe can't swing it financially. This makes it way more accessible.
Exactly, and it gets rid of that worry about the battery eventually dying and needing to be replaced, which, by the way, is not cheap.
It's like the whole shift we've seen with, well, everything, music, movies, even software, owning versus accessing. It'll be interesting to see if that mindset takes hold for cars, especially EVs.
It's definitely a bold move, and who knows, maybe they'll catch on. And get this, with BOSS, the MG Windsor EV starts at, wait for it, Rs 999 lakh.
Are you kidding me? That's practically unheard of. That's even cheaper than some of the gas-powered cars we see in that segment.
Right. It's a crazy good deal. Seems like everyone's trying to undercut each other on price these days.
It's a price war out there. But hey, for consumers, it's a win-win, am I right? More choices, better tech, and lower prices.
Absolutely. Okay, so we've talked about a lot of exciting new cars and bikes today, but it makes you wonder, what does it all mean?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? I mean, we're seeing a lot of really interesting strategies at play here. Tata's playing both sides, catering to the EV crowd and the traditional engine folks.
Right. And then you've got Triumph really trying to widen their net by offering something for everyone.
Exactly. And let's not forget, TVS going all in on those high-tech features to create that really premium experience for riders.
And Hyundai showing everyone they're paying attention and willing to adapt. And then, of course, there's MG dropping this bombshell boss model on us. It's a lot to keep up with. It really feels like we're seeing a masterclass in how to win in the car world, all happening right in front of us.
It's a fascinating time to be following the industry, that's for sure. And you know what strikes me? Beyond all the cool technology and clever marketing, there's this real push to make these vehicles, cars, and bikes attainable for more people.
Yeah, I see that too.
Like whether it's pricing them competitively, giving buyers more options to choose from, or even totally flipping the script on how we own a car with that whole bias thing. It's like these car makers are finding new ways to get people excited about driving again. And that's got to be a good thing, right?
Definitely. But it does leave us with some big questions. Will these vehicles actually live up to all the hype when they finally hit the streets? Can Tata really pull off this whole dual engine strategy with the Curve? And will MG's big swing with battery as a service actually change the EV game?
Those are the questions, all right. And that's what makes doing these deep dives so fun, right? It's not just about knowing the latest specs and features. It's about digging into how these changes could shape the future of driving for all of us.
Couldn't agree more. So, to everyone listening, what's got you the most interested? Are you excited about this potential future with more affordable EVs because of battery as a service? Or maybe that whole dual engine approach from Tata has you thinking, that's pretty clever.
Whatever's piqued your interest, don't stop here. Go down that rabbit hole, do some more research, see what's out there. Who knows, you might just find your dream car or bike in the process.
Now that's what we like to hear. Because the world of cars and bikes, it's always changing. Always got something new to discover.
And while we're navigating this wild ride, it's good to remember that knowledge is power. The more we get how these trends work, the better decisions we can make. Not just as people buying cars, but as people living in the world that's more and more driven by technology.
Well said. And with that, we're going to wrap up this deep dive into India's hottest automotive trends. It's been a blast.
We've crunched the numbers, we've talked strategy, and hopefully got some good conversations going.
But remember, this is just the beginning. There's a whole lot of road ahead when it comes to innovation in the car world, and we can't wait to see what's next. Until next time, keep those engines revving and stay curious, everyone.